Hello, 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 hello. I just about made it in time today.
So did I.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
good.
Linda,
Oh, good.
what's new? Anything new your end?
Well, Tashi's been with her dad now. This is day 6. She
Uh-huh.
went Friday lunchtime, and today's Wednesday night. So it's been Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Well, it's 5 days. And she comes back on Sunday. So we've got Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm over the halfway with her. And it feels like she only went yesterday.
Ah,
I'm serious. I've been so busy, Mike.
you're right.
I can't tell you that every day I walk and talk. So now I've decided that I've found this app on my phone. It registers how many steps you take when you walk, when you're
Uh-huh.
holding your phone.
Yeah.
And I'm doing about 5 miles a day because I talk while I'm walking
Yeah.
while I take the phone with me.
Mm.
So it's actually good that I've realised I'm walking about 5 kilometres a day just by being on the phone.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so it is good. It is good. You
Yeah.
know, but life here is good. Tashi's not here, so I can't say I'm accomplishing anything, but I'm getting a lot done.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Yeah. So
my wife is flown off to Arizona this morning, so we was up at 4 o'clock. Um, and I've got 2 weeks in which I'm going to have to phrase this in a way that doesn't sound. Oh, I just say I've got no disturbances, so I can
oh, you've
just.
got Becky. How
Poor
is Becky, by the
poor
way?
Becky is still not so well. We had all her poop tests done, and there's nothing wrong with worms, semolina, parasites, or anything
Yeah.
like this. So
I just think it's a psychological thing, darling, because I get like this when I think of her. You
yeah,
know, so to me it's like she's had a scare.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
everyone's
and
saying this, and I asked Joan again yesterday at the table, and Joan said, "Look, take her to the vet if you want for your own self, but there's no need."
that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I'm getting told too, darling. No need to take her to a vet.
yeah,
She'll sort it out.
yeah,
You know, when she realises that she's back inside and she's well with the other
yeah,
fluffo as well.
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Well, they're both asleep. One's asleep on the piano, lording it over everywhere, and little Becky's asleep under the bed. Although last night she didn't sleep under the bed, she slept in her little basket, and the day before she was on my bed. You got to laugh, and she was right in the middle. I thought, do I try and get in bed or should I sleep downstairs? And in the end, I just was on the, on the
I understand the dilemma. I
yeah,
really do.
yeah,
You know, I took a photo just the other day because now Mary sleeps in the middle. She started off just on the edge, right
yeah,
at the feet, like your toes,
yeah,
and then she sort of crept up over a 2 week period. But now she's right in the middle of the bed,
yeah,
you know. And I took this photo the other day of her because she's right in the middle of the bed,
yeah,
and I just thought, you know, this cat, she's taken over. So here's Mary in the middle of my bed. And then I got into bed and look, I'm off the edge.
yeah.
My feet are going off the
That's
edge.
how I was the other day. Yeah,
They know how to take over us, don't they?
yeah.
You know,
Well, I'll
they
tell you
really
what,
do.
the thing is, Becky is one of the most sensitive and psychic cats that I know. So she
I
picks
have
up and
a
everything.
theory.
Yeah.
I have a theory.
Uh huh.
Well, I'm doing the silver mind control method.
Uh huh.
And I've only been doing it for a week, and he says with the first exercise you've got to do it for 20 nights or something like that. Then you do the second exercise for like a week, and then you do the next
Yeah.
exercise for another week. So I'm only 3 days in,
Mhm.
and the last 3 nights, like, I have a lot of premonition dreams, but the last 3 nights, whoa, have they been doozy with information that's going to come true the next day.
Right.
It's amazing.
Mm.
So I've got this, because it's all to do with meditation, okay?
Mhm.
Look at how often cats meditate.
Yeah.
And in this Silver Mind Control book, he's saying that when we meditate just before sleep or just after we wake up, that's when we go into our alpha consciousness.
Yeah.
Okay? And it's when we're in our alpha is when we have all this psychic ability stuff. So I'm reading the book, I'm doing the exercises. If you see a private jet turn up in your front yard and say, come to Australia, you're living with Linda, you'll know that I sort of won a decent amount, but I'm not doing it for money. I'm doing it for my own assistance to others. That's why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I want to do it for the right reason, obviously.
Yeah.
I want to help other people, Mike. Seriously. I want to open up a centre where people can come and learn for free. That's what I ultimately would love, where they just walk in. It's a real Zen centre, and it's like, I never want to leave here, and I'm bringing all my friends next time I come.
Yeah.
Yes, welcome. Yeah. That's what I want. I don't want to charge. I'm sick of this having to rely on money to help people. I really am.
Yeah,
so,
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Well, darling, just the last 3 nights, the dreams have been scarily accurate for what happened the next day.
Right.
So I know I'm onto something here with this mind control. Anyway,
well,
we'll see how
before we get on, I got to tell you what I bought yesterday. I bought myself a Healy resonance. So this can do remote healing, changing the quantum field, because when we put it on Becky, the difference the next day, it was like her old self.
What does it look like?
It's only the size of a matchbox. If you while the first piece is running, if you just put in Healy resonance, you'll see it. It's about the size of a matchbox, and you use it.
So let's advertise it. How do you spell Healy?
Healy.
So it's heal with a Y.
Yeah.
So it's Healy, and what's the second word for anyone else writing it down?
The machine that I've just bought is the Healy resonance. It's called, and it's brilliant. You can do remote healing with it, and as I say, we put it with Becky, and it was absolutely brilliant with her. It really was brilliant. So I think somebody said that I have a Rife machine. I've got a Rife digital. The problem with Rife is, my opinion, is that we don't know how accurate the frequencies are, because Rife used analog frequencies, and he used frequencies that interfered with radio waves. I gave a talk on Royal Raymond Rife a few years ago, but he did cure the incurable, and of course he got shut down. So the Rife digital, I wouldn't use Rife digital for anything serious. It certainly helps. I have found that the Healy actually works in the quantum field, which I think is where disease starts to manifest. So,
of course it does. Yeah. Yes. Well, my friend, the reason why I ask is because I wanted to know what it looks like, because my friend Sue, she just bought this thing, and it sort of looks like a hairdryer, but instead of being like a gun that has like where you hold it and then it comes out here, it's just flat, and it's got like a laser inside it, and as it blows out the hot air like a hairdryer, it's got a frequency inside it as well.
Right.
I don't know the accuracy of it because she's only used it on me once, and I know it heated me up like a hairdryer, but I don't know if I trust it or not, because I've only used it the once, just to try and get an effect out of it. But apparently, she uses it all the time on her back and stuff, and she says it's the best thing ever. But how do we know if that's not the placebo effect?
Yeah. Well, I actually also think that something like the Healy is the person who is controlling it, in this case would be me, also affects the outcome.
Well, that's right.
Because we're talking
just
about
like
Reiki.
Yes. It's the energy that you put in that separate back over to the other person.
Yeah.
So yes, absolutely.
And I've known a couple of people who've had great success with Healy. I wouldn't have just bought it on a whim, but I'm really confident with it. And so it's time for me to, as much as I love Rife, I don't have the confidence that the digital works as effectively as the analog he was using, or that that the frequencies are particularly accurate. But if it works for people, why not? Why not indeed?
That's exactly right, darling. And that's all we can try for, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
You're so delayed, Linda. Hopefully we'll get you back on track when we so you're out of lip sync right now for some reason. So we'll go over.
It is funny. Okay, just let me do a little plug. Okay. I got interviewed today for a new podcast. They're just opening up.
Yeah.
And she actually said the same thing. Right. So it's not you, it's not me, it's something in the air tonight. Yeah. If you're into that song, if you know something in the air tonight. Yeah. Yes, people are noticing it all over the planet. Yeah. Internet, FPOS machines. There's a lot of technical devices that are now having little glitches.
Yeah.
If you've noticed.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So there you go.
Okay.
So do we have an open door tonight?
We do. Let's run straight over to it.
Somebody didn't send it to me, Mike.
Oh, very naughty. Okay. Well, you better listen.
I haven't watched it, guys. Yep. So I'm going to make notes while we watch it.
Your name is mentioned, I believe, again. So here we go.
If it's good.
We got a bit of Sting and Johnny Galecki with their ghostly encounters. Sting, of course, has a 16th century home close to Stonehenge, because why not? So in the middle of the night one time, he happens to look up and he sees a woman cradling a baby, the apparition of a woman cradling a baby. Mm-hmm. So just to confirm his vision, he turns to his wife, wakes her up, and asks if she sees them as well. She confirms the visitation.
Yeah. Well, maybe they should play some of his music if they want to get rid of him. Now, I actually quite like Sting, some of his stuff, especially when he started doing that jazzy sort of stuff. I really quite liked it. But there you are. As you can see, I'm in a strange sort of mood today. But there we are. That's all part of it. But he was in conversation with Johnny Galecki, as we all know from The Big Bang Theory. He's got his own little mysterious tale to tell.
Right. He has a cabin, which parts of it are 150 years old, and he noticed some activity. So he vowed to never speak about it, trying to keep peace with whomever is in his home. So one day, friends came over, and they started noticing something, and he said, shh, we could take it outside. Yeah. So the friends kind of said, well, do you think they don't hear you out in the yard?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, it's too cold to go outside anyway. Well, while they happen to be discussing this whole thing, boom, the oven light goes off, explodes over somebody's head. Luckily, I believe nobody was injured, but yeah. Mr. Alfred Packer, he's known as the Cannibal of Colorado. So what happens was, and I guess in around the 80s or so, Miss Diane Neal, of Law and Order fame, and I believe she has her own podcast, and I think she even ran for office once. She and two of her other 11-year-old friends found the grave of Mr. Alfred Packer. And they were there and giggling and being 11-year-old girls, and they suddenly got this presence over them, and they all froze, and they all were terrified. and they just instantly knew that they were doing something wrong.
Right.
So they counted to 3 and then just ran out of the cemetery. And it happens to be the grave of Mr. Alfred Packer, who was a Union soldier who in the late 1800s got the gold rush fever like everybody else. So he went up into the hills of Colorado with a team of men, but he was the only one to come back. And it is said that he ate his fellow team members in order to survive the cold Colorado winter. Yeah.
Okay. Final story.
Final story will go to Anna Ortiz of Ugly Betty fame. She is an actress, and she was preparing lines for an audition while her husband was away, and it was just her by herself in her home, and she had a boom box there. You press play and music comes on. Well, as she was preparing her lines, all of a sudden she hears music, and this device was not plugged in, did not have any batteries, and the press play button was pushed down and music was playing. So how do you reconcile that?
So there we are. I mean, I wonder if anyone noticed, if I can find it actually here. You'll be able to see it in the replay here, Katerina. But there's a picture here I'll put up of Johnny Galecki and Sting, and right behind them is the backdrop of the Roosevelt Hotel.
Wow.
Maybe we should do a little story on the Roosevelt Hotel, which is packed to the rafters with spooky goings on and celebrity spookies as well. So
I believe Marilyn has been seen there a few times.
Yeah.
Wow. So I guess she's in the air, as it happens to be today, watching over. Maybe she approves of our interview and in her.
Well, there you are.
Mentioning it.
We start the show with Marilyn, and we end the show with Marilyn. And ironically, Marilyn hasn't been in the show, but.
No. Every day is Christmas, right? Yeah. Every day is a holiday. Every day is a gift, if you ask me.
Super. Yeah. Okay, so, Katerina, I'll leave you to finish.
Stay curious, my friends.
Okay, James just asked, by the way, are you going to have your table today? Yeah, we recorded it yesterday. I'll put it up on YouTube today. Quite an interesting, it was a biblical proportions, all the questions. But as you can see, Linda, I had a bad hair day on Sunday when we recorded that.
Hang on. I've got to say, anybody watching, if you do want to book a private one-on-one table tipping service by Mike, email him and organise it. I've had one and I am raving about it to all my friends. Okay? So, yes, I got a lot of confirmations with Mike's table tipping service that he did on me. Okay? So if you do want... what is on the screen? Okay.
Just a question.
Something's just going over the screen. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was me.
So,
yeah.
If anybody does want a one-on-one psychic reading from Mike with his table, with John, I am highly recommending it. Okay?
Super.
Contact Mike, and I'm right now going to put Mike's email in there. So it's Mike Cavalli at Hotmail. Oh God, have I got it? Cavalli at Hotmail. I know. Oh my God. There you go. So there's your email. So if anybody does want a table tipping, I've just put Mike's Cavalli's email up. Contact Mike and organise a time, date, when, and obviously payment. Because hello. Got to do
Well,
that for you, Mike. It's Christmas.
super.
Hello.
James asked, where do I send a message for the table? I'll put a link up to our Telegram group if you're on Telegram. And that's where we have all the questions. We just, as you can see, we don't do personal questions there. Not on your Telegram. No, James, it's called, I think, Spiritual Report, Jeanne Dark Prophecies, I think, is the one. But I'll put it up.
There's two ways of doing it with Mike. You can contact him for a private one-on-one where you do ask your own personal questions, or you can send over questions that he answers and live when he does his John report with the beautiful Denise, if she's around. Because we all know what's going on with Denise if you're watching the show.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. Well, we've got a big bringing in the light ceremony today. I'm doing a bringing in the light meditation at 6:30. Then I'm reading a channeled message from Jeanne about light, which I'll put up on YouTube as well later. And then Anna is doing a little bit of gonging. And then I'm going straight home to my puddy cats.
I like gonging.
Yeah. So
I gong all the time in my house.
Yeah.
So I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, she's got a whopper of a gong, like what is it? Rank with the ball. The whole house is going to go.
Well, my bowl is a Bavarian crystal bowl. It's a salad bowl, so it's about yay round, and I bought it for $5 at the Salvation Army.
Mm-hmm.
And it resonates throughout my whole house when I do it. So, you know, I've got to do a video on mine.
Yeah.
You know, I'll do a video just to tell people, you know, because, you know, a lot of people are a bit scared when they think, oh, my God, what have I got to buy? Does it have to be this or that? Yeah. Sometimes the easiest things are the cheapest things.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You know, it's like protecting yourself. You don't even have to buy anything to protect yourself.
Yeah.
But a lot of people say, oh, no, you need this crystal. You need this rope and sage and salt. Sometimes you don't.
No.
Okay? So,
Linda,
all right.
Let's get on with our first one. Let's go and have a look at I called him the can ghost, moving the soda across the table, and the picture frame ghost. Not the spookiest of things we've seen, but still worth reporting. So here we go.
Not today, Satan.
In this video from LPE 360, a Wisconsin man and his son disagree about whether a simple can of pop has been touched by a ghost. An indoor security camera placed high in the corner of the family kitchen recorded the footage of an afternoon homework session gone awry. Take a look.
No. Not today, Satan.
Out of nowhere, the can on the table slides towards the boy. The boy immediately jumps up and backs away from the counter, staring at the can, saying, "Not today, Satan."
Not today, Satan.
His father laughs at the over-the-top reaction, saying it's just wet.
No.
The boy still continues to back away from the can, hiding behind his laughing dad. According to the father's explanation, condensation on the can caused it to slide across the counter in a small pool of water at the base of the can. The boy, however, is unconvinced by this rationale.
It's right there.
For some time now, this homeowner has suspected that his home might be haunted. This clip begins with him talking to the camera, explaining that a picture frame just behind him has recently moved.
That picture frame, it's a picture frame, that little black thing, it's right there. That's the picture frame. It's my kids. It started sporadically.
As he's talking, it appears as though some more activity starts to play out. Take a look.
Right in front of my face, dude.
The frame suddenly begins to swing wildly back and forth on its own. It eventually spins in a complete circle before falling off the wall, then crashing violently to the ground.
Front of my face, dude.
The man recording the bizarre incident quickly flips on the light to investigate the scene more closely. According to him, this isn't the first time that the picture frame's been the focus of poltergeist activity.
It was doing that.
Stranger still, when he looks just under the desk, the frame isn't in the spot where it should have landed.
Where the did the pic...
He looks around under his desk, but it's nowhere to be found.
Where did it go?
Often in videos with mysterious moving objects, viewers suggest that an off-screen accomplice is doing the moving with a hidden piece of string or wire. However, because of the multiple directions in which the frame moves, it would be very hard to do this with string. Also, how did the frame disappear when the camera never stopped recording? Perhaps it's just hiding under some of the junk under the desk.
It was doing that. Where the did the pic... Where did it go?
So what do you think's going on in this strange video? Is it all just an elaborate hoax? Or is it something a little more sinister?
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Linda.
What's that?
Unless I was absolutely sure that can was moving on its own accord because of water there, I wouldn't be laughing and provoking anything that was in there. But what do you think? Because, it stopped just at the edge of the table.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's all to do with the colour of the table. I think that's actually like a granite bench in that kitchen.
Yeah.
It's not a tablecloth.
No.
And I know myself, when I even put my bottle of water on my kitchen bench, it does get a water thing underneath it.
Yeah.
And even this slides around by itself on my benches. So it could just be that. And it just moved over to, it didn't actually go all the way over.
Yeah.
It ran out of steam, possibly. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
With that little information, it's very difficult to make a discerning decision. You need more information.
What else is happening in the house? Is this the first time it's happened? And why did the kid say what he said?
Yeah,
because to me, that's the most disturbing part of the whole film.
Yeah.
Why did the kid provoke someone that's not a good entity?
Yeah.
So, and then the dad sat there laughing at it. So the dad entertains that sort of stuff in the house.
Yeah.
So you don't know what they're bringing in.
No. Listening to the words that the kid chose, not today, suggests that it's happened before.
Could be.
So, otherwise he might have said no, but not today. I'm not going to use the word. I don't want to.
But still, you look at the dad's reaction, there wasn't one.
No.
He's used to it.
Yeah.
So I'm of the belief that if it is paranormal, good luck.
Yeah.
Because they're provoking something in that house.
Yeah.
By just their words. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the second one is more interesting with the picture frame.
Yeah.
I saw a trick years and years ago. I was helping a guy do some reno work at his house, and he had a screwdriver, and he put it through the plasterboard, so it's like a pen, and then he had the picture attached to it, so it's sort of like that. So this is through the wall from the other room, right? So all you see is this, and then because it's on a screwdriver, as he rotated it, it all went round and around and around.
Yeah.
And he could, so he's doing one way and then the other way like a screwdriver. But if that was the case, you'd have a hole in the wall when the picture frame fell off.
Yeah.
Because as soon as I saw it, I thought, oh, that's what Paul Power did in his house back in the 80s. No hole in the wall where the screwdriver would be. So then I thought of magnets. Could this be a magnetic thing? But the speed and the extreme change from one direction to the other, That's a little bit hard to do even with magnets. So I'm not even going to go there with strings because I don't know how anyone would do it that fast with strings. So the big thing that I'm concerned with in this one is not so much how it was doing on the wall. Where did it go when it fell off?
Yeah.
Because I heard a clunk, but is it the floor or did it fall behind the monitor?
Yeah. Yeah.
I've got a feeling it fell behind the monitor.
That's what I think.
And
Yeah.
he saw it there, and that's why he's pulled away. And then he's gone under the desk, and he's pretending. So I've got a feeling it fell it fell on the table, and it's hidden behind the computer monitor.
I mean,
that's what I think.
are you, if I get this right, are you saying that it is most likely a psychic event, but he's tried to embellish it to make it look more than what it is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I get a door closed in my house, and it's like, is that enough to get people to want to look at it?
Yeah.
So they're there and they, listen to this. I've got this as well. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You know, because A is filming. It's like nobody films just to show themselves.
No. Yeah.
I share stuff on Facebook for me to read later.
Yeah.
I just did it tonight. Okay. Yeah. I just did it tonight, but that I don't, I don't share it for that. I just watch it to watch later because I just don't have enough time to spend 5 minutes looking at something with 42 photos of weird photos. So I share it. So when I'm doing my downtime before bed or whatever, I can just scroll back and look at it. But nobody films themselves.
No.
Unless they're going to share it with somebody.
Yeah.
Or a lot of others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm of the belief that it may be something there too. You know, I'm not saying there's not, but it's just I can't debunk that one at all.
Okay.
Because it's too fast. Yeah.
Well, before we go on to our reincarnation story, I'm going to put up, if it'll come up, you can see it there. That's the Healy.
Oh, let's have a look at it. Now, I've got about a 10-second delay. Oh, yes, I saw that. I actually just went and had a look at those while that last video was on, and oh my gosh, I certainly can't afford one of those at this point, especially after I've just spent $350 just on Mary's barge that she's now carried around.
Yeah. Well, they were offering 45% discount for this till I think the 3rd of January. Otherwise, I simply wouldn't have been able to afford it. And that's actually the size you see there is probably about the size it is now.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so.
Oh, excuse me. First time I've ever yawned on our show. Gosh, sorry. Wow.
So there you are. That's just.
No, it is good. But when I went to the site, because when you put in Healy Resonance, it actually did say you've been referred by this person.
Yeah.
To get your discount code, and I thought, well, no, I haven't.
No.
So I dismissed that because I don't click anything that's going to be spam and attach me to their websites.
They do work with referrals, but the guy who I know who has the Healy machine and has been working through it with me. Once you sign up using his referral, he guides you through it all, shows you how the apps work and how the whole system works. So, and I don't mind him getting a few bob just for a referral.
That's right, darling. That's right. Yeah. Absolutely. So, that's how a lot of work does get generated, like using mates rates and stuff.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, we better keep moving, darling.
Let's go to Jane Evans. The reincarnation story. Another one of these reincarnations that provide evidence, if I recall this correctly. So, so let's have a look, see what you all think.
Was in the same location in northeast England, where instead of Boracum, the town is now called York. However, this time she is a Jewish woman named Rebecca, and the year is 1189 AD. Her husband's name was Joseph, who was a rich moneylender, and they lived in the wealthier part of town. She spoke with fear and anger about the attitude of the Christians, who, she said, would borrow money to finance their wars and build their cathedrals, then persecuted the Jews unmercifully in return. As with her previous love in Slavonia, Rebecca was also murdered. this time at the hands of Christians during the York Massacre, where she, her husband, and 2 children attempted to hide in the cellar of a church outside the city gates. In her current life, Jane had had no knowledge or association with Jewish people or its culture, but under aggression she had an amazing knowledge of 12th century Jewish history, where she was able to describe the life of a Jewish woman living in York. She describes Jewish life at the period of time when they were forced to wear badges. She described a terrible massacre of the Jewish population by the local townspeople. Rebecca and her family had prepared to leave the city, but had left it too late, and were able to run only as far as the castle of York, but were unable to find safe shelter. They were then forced to take shelter in the crypt of a local church, where they took the priest and his clerk captive. From the safety of the church roof, they could see flames and hear people screaming, "Burn the Jews!" The priest and his clerk managed to escape and alerted soldiers who came into the church. It was at this point in her story that Jane appeared to be filled with terror as soldiers took away her daughter. Then she whispered, "Dark, dark." This was when they were apparently murdered. In order to verify what Jane Evans had described, an expert by the name of Professor Barry Dobson was called in. Professor Dobson lectured at York University and specialised on Jewish history, and was asked to verify the information that Jane Evans had given whilst under aggression. He was extremely impressed at how accurate she was in describing life as a Jewish woman in 12th century York, and that many of her details would only have been known by professional historians. Professor Dobson determined that the church she'd hidden with her family would have been St Mary's Castlegate, but at the time he believed it would not have had a crypt, which she claimed they had hidden. He also claimed that Jews were not forced to wear badges until a later date. But on further research, they found that making Jews wear badges did take place in 12th century England, and several months later, researchers were doing renovations in St Mary's Castlegate and found a sealed chamber below the floor, which appeared to have been a crypt, which would have been a rare phenomenon for churches in the area. Jane Evans' regression brought forth details that proved to be historically accurate, and had yielded historical information that was not currently available at the time.
Not much has changed in all those years, has it, Linda?
No.
Not much has
not
changed.
At all. Not at all.
So when we in the West talk about Nazism, quite rightly, we have to look at our own checkered history as well. But that's another subject. What do you think here? Brilliant,
yeah.
I think.
Brilliant. And that's all I can say. Brilliant. Because how did these kids get the information?
Yeah.
It's not like they're 10.
No.
I'll say 10. Okay. Because at 10 they can work out tech, and they can go on Google and they can start looking at stuff, and they can read and write to work words out. But these young kids, how do they know this stuff unless it was real?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where I just say it is brilliant.
Yeah.
James Cole just said, I've been in that church, close friend lives there. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so it's good that we've got stories on here that relate to people.
Yeah, absolutely, Yeah.
So I'm just going to do a big call out. If you do want your paranormal story on our show, it can be anything from a ghost story, angel story, even as weird synchronicity, time slip, NDE, or anything paranormal, supernatural. If you don't want to be on a video, please email Mike and just say, hey, can you read out this email on air?
Yeah.
You don't have to do it if you don't want to be anonymous. You don't have to be seen. If you do want to do a video, send it over to Mike. I worked out how to use WeTransfer.
WeTransfer.
I had to do that today. Yeah, WeTransfer. I actually had to create an account and start doing it myself today. So if I can do this stuff, anybody can.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Me too, says Sari. Years ago, I took a midnight walking tour in York, and it was really scary. Yeah, I believe York is the most haunted place in the UK, actually.
Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah. There you are. Don't go walking the cobblestones of York of a night time.
Yes, it's like those Scottish moors. Stay on the path, stay on the path. Oh, sorry, I'm just having a flashback to, what was it, American Werewolf in London, or whatever it was called. One of the first paranormal movies that came out back in the 80s. Stay on. You don't want to go off the moors at night time.
You'd be staying on the path. Yeah.
Stay on the path.
Yeah, there are some good pubs there. I actually went to, talking of moors down there, I actually went to the Jamaica Inn down there in Dartmoor, I think it is. It's no longer isolated like it was all those years ago. It's, on the moors, but there's housing around there and everything. Quite an interesting pub, actually. But anyway.
Yeah, Jamaican pub on
Jamaica
Scottish moors.
Linda.
Oh my gosh. Yes, we've got to keep moving.
Let's keep
Where are we
moving.
going
We're
now?
going to our little angel story.
Mhm.
See what you all think about this one. Anyone who's clairsentient, clairaudient, clairvoyant will understand exactly what this guy's talking about.
Feel this presence behind me. Now, I'm a feeler. In the spirit, I'm a feeler. People discern things in the spirit realm in all different ways. Some people are seers. Everything is visionary. Some are dreamers. They dream about things. I'm a feeler. I can sense things, even in my physical senses, from the realm of the spirit. So as I'm sitting on the floor, I feel this presence behind me. It's like a magnified sense of God's presence. And I knew intuitively there's an angel standing right behind me. And as I'm on the floor, I can physically feel the wings of this angel wrap around my body and then open up again, and then wrap around my body and open up again. And every time the wings of this angel would come around me, it was like a waterfall of the glory of God would crash over me into the room, and the two ladies laying on the floor, their bodies would bounce off the floor at the same time as this glory crashed into the room. So then I become aware of a second angel on my right side, and I could feel the presence of it. Now, when I feel angels or I discern angels, it's almost like the way I feel it, it's like the presence of God even more magnified, because angels, they go to heaven, they travel back and forth. Angels carry on them the very presence of heaven. They are in heaven. They go back and forth from heaven to earth. So as these angelic beings are standing there, it's like they're ushering in the very presence of heaven, the very presence of the glory of God. So one angel standing behind me now, the other angel standing on my right side, and I hear the Holy Spirit speak to my heart. And he says to me, the angel standing behind you is an angel connected to revival, and the angel standing on your right is an angel associated or connected to miracles. And the Holy Spirit says to me, I have commissioned them this day. They will travel with you. They will go with you. They will help you do what I have called you to do. And it was just months after that encounter with the Holy Spirit and with these two angels that the Lord transitioned my whole life. From pastoring, doors began to open. I started to travel and preach. I started to pray for the sick. We started to see miracles. We started to see the outbreak of God's glory. We started to see the winds of revival and the winds of God's presence move through our ministry. And it was that day that a commissioning took place. So I just always encourage folks, when the Holy Spirit whispers to your heart and you feel an unction to do something, even if your logical mind says that's foolish, it doesn't make sense, obey God, because your one step of obedience can release a supernatural encounter that can change your whole life. And I know the whole course of my life was shifted. It was launched into a whole new dimension of the outflow of God's glory and anointing just from the simple act of obeying God. Something that seemed foolish, I'm going to get up and dance. I'm going to get up and worship God, even though it doesn't even seem to be the time and place for it. I'm going to obey God. And as I did that, this encounter was unleashed that brought in the glory, it ushered in the glory, which then released an assignment of angels into our life and ministry, which then commissioned us into a tangible healing ministry and prophetic ministry. So I know that the same Holy Spirit that was with me in that office is with you today.
Linda, I have a thing. I don't go with this obedience thing that church tends to put upon us. Because this omnipotent, all important, all everything God, let's call him, she, God, doesn't have that tiny mindset about obedience, I would say, in my perception, it's more, rather than obedience, it's let go and allow flow.
Yeah.
Allow that omnipotent energy to flow through you, which is in you anyway. So open your heart.
That's right.
So to me,
Yeah.
it's not about obedience. I don't like that, to be honest. So I might be a heretic for saying it, but there you are.
Well, but no, well, you're defining the difference between religion and spirituality.
Yeah.
Because religion dictates we must obey, and obedience to a higher entity that is separate to ourselves. Whereas, as you and I know, we are part of that external energy. So there's no external about it, because we are connected and we are one with it.
Yeah.
And energy is everywhere at the end of the day. How can you say one entity is separate to another?
Yeah.
You can't. So, I too I don't get offended by what they say, because everyone's entitled to their own opinion and their own belief systems at the end of the day. But this man, the very fact that he's believing in something and he saw angels, because I've seen angels. 6 people in my house saw 2 angels one night. We all saw them. They dropped angel wings. 2 feathers fell on my floor that were like 4 foot long. They were nearly as long as me. I'm 5'7", so they were virtually nearly as long as me. The feathers,
right?
And I all saw it.
Yeah.
So how can we dispute that? Angels are a religious figure, but they exist. So anyway, yeah.
Super. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
super.
we might even get finished on time today. Heaven knows.
Yeah.
Let's go to our last story, John's NDE. I mean, I like this guy because he's a real, just regular guy,
That's
just
right. Yes.
sort of guy you have a drink with. Let's see what he has to say, and we'll wrap it up. Here we go.
I was 21, never had surgery, so I went in, and when they went to give me the anesthesia, I had some kind of horrible allergic reaction, and it stopped my heart. And I actually died for what the surgeon said was 7 minutes until they could bring me back. Well, during that 7-minute period, I went to the other side, where we all go to when we cross. And I met my spirit guide, who took me on, all I can say is it was like some kind of a tour of a part of the other side where people go when they're interested in learning, developing. All the education is there, and that's where you would actually go to learn. So I think the place that I went to, as large as it was on the other side in a very specific place, because what I saw wasn't everything. It was just a small part of the other side. They've got the beautiful white columns. They're just absolutely gorgeous. And one of the buildings that I was in was this enormous library. And what my guide did is every time he took me to a new place, he showed me the outside of it. So we went to the outside of it first, so he could tell me what it looked like, and then we'd go inside. So this one building, I didn't know what it was, but it looked like it was just huge columns out front, and all these stairs to walk up to, kind of like the Abraham Lincoln Memorial.
Yeah.
It's got those stairs
Right.
and the columns. So we got inside, and it was a library. It was so large that I could not see the end of it. It was just enormous. There were all kinds of people there, and they were learning. They were reading, they were studying, they were talking with each other. There was just this atmosphere of, it's all about learning and growth, because here on the earth plane, in our lifetimes, we don't take anything with us except what we learned. So there's this huge emphasis on the other side about developing and learning and growing. And my guide was explaining this to me. Well, in this large library, there are rooms off on the left-hand side, kind of like a modern library has now, where they have study rooms off to the side. So he took me to this one room, and there was a woman in there, and I could see her just like I can see you, and I still remember every single detail. She was wearing a purple gown. She had her back to me, and she had jet long black hair down to her waist. Well, she was in this room, and what she was doing, she was watching a video screen. Now, back when this happened in 1987, we didn't have flat screen TVs. The crazy thing was that she was watching a battle that took place a couple of hundred years ago with the Native American Plains tribes and the U.S. cavalry. And it was an actual battle. And my guide said, I said something like, how is it possible that she's watching this? Because we didn't have video recorders, we didn't have cameras back then. And my guide said, everything is recorded. So everything about our lives is recorded. And what she was doing, she was interested in learning about this particular time in Earth's history. So she went to the room. I don't know how she got this particular history to play, but anything you want to learn, you can go to these rooms and you can watch it. People, so and again, I don't know how this works. I just saw it. They come through these tunnels after they finish their lifetime here on Earth. They go through the tunnel, and you've heard probably a lot of times when people are in the tunnel, they see a white light at the end of the tunnel. Well, what that white light is it's the light that's coming from the other side that shines into these tunnels, which leads people to the other side. So the minute that they walk into that light, they're stepping into the orientation center. And so this woman, one of the counselors, she stood up, she walked over and she took this one of the guys had come through the tunnel. He was an elderly gentleman, probably in his 80s or 90s. And he had his right hand clutching his heart. And my guide said he died from a heart attack. So he came to the tunnel. This counselor stood up. She walked over and she took his hands in hers and she led him back to the table and they sat down. Well, the entire time she was talking to him, she was holding his hands. And my guide said, watch him carefully. So I was watching him. And as she was talking to him, he began to change. He changed from a man in his 80s or 90s to a man in his 30s. When I came back into the hospital room, and a couple days after that, when I realized what had happened, I went through a horrible depression because I didn't want to be here. I wanted to be back where I was because it just feels, it's like trying to tell someone what paradise is like. It's like, and I've never been able to find the words to adequately describe what it's really like.
Now, what have you gone and done?
Just trying to catch up with you.
Well, I want to apologise. I don't know what it is, but tonight I'm just really tired. So I did this yawn, and obviously Mike saw it because I didn't put my hand over my mouth like I usually do because I thought no one was watching. So I do apologise.
That's quite all right.
And then, yeah, well, it is all right because you were sitting there doing all these little fake yawns, or I don't know if you were really yawning as well, but you were making me yawn because you were yawning. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh, you were stirring me. So that's why I was laughing, okay? Oh, my gosh. It's all good at the end of the day. I don't want to deflect from how serious we should be about this man's NDE.
Right.
Okay? He had a lot of very good information in there. You know, a lot of people say, is there a hall of records that we access? when we die, and we can look at all our past lives and lessons that we've still got to learn. Yes, I believe it. And this guy just gave us some evidence to support that.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy with this guy. The fact that he met his spirit guide, and it was a tour. My first version of 5 Years in Heaven was actually called My Tour of Heaven. Like a backstage pass, because that's how I felt it was, especially with her tapping me on the shoulder and saying, come on, you got to go now, you've seen enough. So I love that he said about that, the enormous library. The stairs at the front, well, I've done a video about stairs in heaven. We don't need to use them because we're energy.
Yeah.
They're only there just in case we want to take the slow route.
Right.
Seriously. It's like roads. We don't drive vehicles. The roads are there just to let us go the slow route.
Yeah.
Because, if you want to go to the mountains today, you're just there. Or you can walk along the road.
Yeah.
So it's your choice. We have that choice in our perspective. Yeah. So there you go. Sorry, that was me.
Yeah, no, that's fine. His NDE was really, as you say, like a tour. Some people don't get the tour. Some people are just shown certain things, and so I guess it's all to do with the individual. Just like the guy there telling his angel story, it's how you perceive things is how things are going to be presented to you, I guess.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It is amazing how, we all see very similar things, but in different environments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
the same thing, but a different environment. But one thing that we can all ascertain on, most of us that have like real in-depth near-death experiences, we all land in that field of flowers.
Yeah.
I was explaining it today because I did a podcast today, and I was explaining it, and it wasn't flat. It was like a hill.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see over this rolling hill, and it was just all these amazing flowers. And even as I close my eyes, I can still see the colours.
Right.
But I can't tell you whether they're like yellow, green, blue, or red, because they're not like our colour codes here.
Yeah.
We're not in the same colour spectrum here. So we've just got to wait until we get there to say, then you can say, oh, I know what Linda was talking about.
Yeah.
So good.
Okay, Linda. Let's stop while we're ahead.
Absolutely. We're finally finished on time for once.
Yeah, super.
Wow. I can't believe that. Are we around next week, Mike? I'm here if you want to do a show next week.
Yeah, we'll do a show next week. Yeah, super.
Good.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll be here. So good on you all. Have a lovely, merry Christmas. Don't get on Sandy's naughty list for any reasons. Stay safe. Stay. One thing I'd like you to all do is an exercise for Linda. Go out and say to somebody, hope you're having a great day. That's all we have to do.
Yeah.
And think about somebody who may be alone on Christmas. Put yourself in their shoes and just say, what would they like? Like the two boys down the street, they're high handicap, intellectual handicap boys. I'm going to make a cheesecake and take it down to them on Christmas Day with Tashi. That's what I'm going to do. So they go, cake. Oh, they love cake. Oh, my God, especially with strawberries. One of them just goes nuts when he gets strawberries. Strawberries! Because they're very highly intelligent, highly intellectually handicapped men.
Yeah.
And so I just love going down there and just making their day with a cake.
Yeah.
So think about something that we can do for somebody, unexpected act of kindness. If there's ever a time of Christmas, ever a time of year to do it, it is now at Christmas. So think what you can do for somebody else and just make their day.
Well, I'll tell you what we're doing tonight at our Bringing in the Light meditation. Everyone's invited to bring a small gift, wrap it up nicely, and you leave the gift there and you take another gift home with you.
Wow.
And
that's
so,
it. You open it when you get home.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
So, as you give and receive all the time. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, next week, because it'll be after Christmas, I'll show you what I got Tashi. Okay?
Yeah.
Because I spoil her all the time, but Christmas I just like getting weird, wonderful things for her. Wait until I see what I show you next week. It is to die for, literally. I love it. I know that she's just going to want to wear it, and she's just not going to want to give it up. But, yeah, I'll show you all next week what I got Tashi, okay? Yeah.
Okay, super. Everyone, have a good Christmas.
And I'll see you all next week. So ho, 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 and stay safe, everybody. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Talk to you soon.
Ciao.
Bye.